Okay, if you're learning Spanish, you have definitely asked this question. Why on earth are there so many different endings for every single verb? It just feels like this huge, impossible mountain of memorization. Well, let's dive in, because the answer is actually a total game changer for how you see the language.
I mean, you know that feeling, right? You pull up a verb chart, you see all those rows and columns of endings, and it just feels completely overwhelming, almost like it was designed to be difficult. Trust me, I've been there. It's kind of a rite of passage for every Spanish learner.
You're hit with this wall of words, and it just looks like this totally random, endless list you're supposed to somehow cram into your brain. But here's the secret. It's not random. Not at all.
And that is the big mental shift we need to make. Instead of seeing it as just unnecessary, complicated chaos, think of it as a super efficient code. Every single one of those endings is a key that unlocks a ton of information instantly. So stick with me, because that's exactly what we're about to do. We're going to decode why this system even exists, how it works, and most importantly, how you can use that knowledge to learn Spanish way faster.
So where's the secret? Where's the key to this whole thing? Well, it's actually hidden in plain sight. It's right there, inside those tiny little endings you've been memorizing. They are way more powerful than they look. Get this. Every single Spanish verb ending contains 4 to 5 separate pieces of grammatical information. That's right. One little syllable can do the work of several English words. It's actually an incredible piece of linguistic engineering when you think about it.
Yeah, it's like a tiny little information packet. Just one ending tells you who's doing the action, when it's happening, and how it's being viewed. Like, is it a fact or is it a doubt? It even tells you if the action is finished. It's basically a whole story packed into just a couple of letters. It's wild.
Let's just take the word hablamos. That ending, amos, tells you 3 things right off the bat. That we are the ones talking, that it's happening right now in the present, and that it's being stated as a fact. The we is already baked right into the ending. That's why you can just say hablamos instead of nosotros hablamos. You don't even need it.
Okay, so why? Why does Spanish do this? To answer that, we gotta jump in a time machine and go back about 2,000 years.
See, Spanish is a Romance language, which means it's a direct descendant of Latin. And Latin was a language that was all about using word endings to do the heavy grammatical lifting. So the Latin word for I love, amo, evolved pretty much directly into the modern Spanish amo. Now, over the centuries, things got a bit simpler, but that core idea, packing the subject right into the verb, that stuck around. And this history leads us to probably the single most important idea in this whole explainer. You see, languages kind of have to make a choice. Do they rely on a really strict word order to make sense, or do they rely on information-packed endings?
And this is where you see the 2 languages really go down different paths. English basically decided, nope, we're going to have a super strict subject-verb-object word order. But Spanish, because its verbs are so powerful, could be way more flexible, way more fluid.
Okay, and this is the absolute key. In English, word order is everything. The dog bites the man means the exact opposite of the man bites the dog. But in Spanish, that verb ending protects the core meaning. Because muerde means it bites, you can say el perro muerde al hombre or al hombre lo muerde el perro. The meaning doesn't change, just the emphasis. That verb ending acts like a lock. It tells you who is doing the biting, no matter where you put it in the sentence. It's brilliant.
Okay, so we get the why now, but what's the actual payoff for someone speaking the language every day? Why is this system actually better in some ways? Well, it really comes down to 2 things: speed and clarity.
This system creates this amazing economy of speech. Because the verb ending does all the work, you just don't need to say I, you, or we most of the time. They're just gone. And that makes spoken Spanish faster, more fluid, and just more direct. And the benefits don't stop there. If you're in a really long, complex sentence, it's like the endings are little signposts guiding you along, reminding you who's doing what. Plus, with different sets of endings like the subjunctive mood, you can show you're talking about a wish or a doubt or a hope just by changing the verb ending. You don't need a bunch of extra words.
All right, this is all fascinating, right? But what does it actually mean for you, the person trying to learn this stuff? Let's switch gears and talk strategy. How can you use this knowledge to make learning a whole lot easier?
First things first, you gotta remember it is not total chaos. Almost every single verb in Spanish belongs to one of just 3 predictable families, the ones ending in r, or ir. You learn the pattern for one of those families, and boom, you've just learned how to conjugate literally thousands of verbs. It's all about seeing the system. So let me give you 3 pro-level tips to make this way easier. First, don't try to learn everything at once. Just focus on mastering the big 3 tenses. That's present, preterite, and imperfect. They'll cover most of your daily conversations. Second, change how you think. Start training your brain to see that little O ending and immediately think I. The ending is the subject. And finally, look for those patterns. When you see "on" at the end of a word, your brain should instantly fire, they did something in the past.
And that's really the bottom line here. What feels like a huge burden when you're starting out is actually a feature, not a bug. It's an elegant, super compact system designed for speed, flexibility, and nuance. It's pure efficiency, just encoded right into the grammar itself.
So, from now on, whenever you hit a grammar rule that feels weird or frustrating, just ask yourself this. Is this just some random rule I have to memorize? Or is it maybe a hidden shortcut? Is it a piece of a larger, more efficient code that I just haven't cracked yet? Because chances are, it's not just a rule. It's a key to a much bigger, much smarter system that's just waiting for you to crack it.